Hello viewers, well last week was Autosport International. I was there taking lots of video clips for you guys. Let's look at part one. So the first thing then is to check out a few of the F1 cars that are on display. Lots of racing cars, but as an F1 fan I always like to see some of these older models, and really nice to get up close to them, look at the details and stuff like that was there. This was before the show opened, and of course that backed onto the Senna tribute, and of course being lucky to get in there while it was still empty. A range of his cars, his original karts was in there. And many of you will recognise this car from the recent Senna movie. Of course, that was the car he was using at Monaco in the rain. Dreadful conditions as he was gaining on Alain Prost, hand over fist. Fantastic drive for him. That was what really demonstrated his potential to everybody. But what's interesting when you see these cars is how much they've changed, over time, and how much they changed even in that era every year. There was radical improvements to the cars in the form of understanding aerodynamics and balance and engine placement, everything, ballast systems. It was so much improvement year on year, but also still how open the drivers were in the cockpit back then. It was still a very dangerous business, but it's nice to get so close to these cars and see them all brought together in one place. Very rare for members of the public to get in and see these, because these are normally tucked away in McLaren HQ, which I was lucky enough to get into myself last year, powered by Ford. I never realised McLaren were powered by Ford. I have to say, nice details there. Still sponsored by Boss, long-term relationship. And the picture there, winning one of his many trophies that he won in his illustrious career. So a fantastic exhibit there, worth visiting for Senna fans. It was a really great opportunity to get in there nice and early and film all of that for you guys. It was a little bit brighter in there than it looked, but from old F1 cars to Senna to new F1 cars, and the full grid of F1 cars were on display. It's worth pointing out, however, that though I'm zooming in and looking at the details, I noticed that quite a few details had been removed off the cars, so you're not actually seeing the untampered version. I have a look around here at the rear diffuser and noticed that there's quite a few pieces that have been removed or taken away. So these cars were for demonstration purposes, but also similar to the real thing as far as the bodywork's concerned. But on the whole, don't expect these to be seeing these on the racetrack anytime soon. So again, I was very lucky to get in there when there was nobody there, just have a little film of the entire grid. I was limited on memory on my camera, unfortunately. I turned up and didn't have all the memory I thought I had, so I had to quickly use some sweeping shots for you guys rather than too much slow panning, which I was planning for the event. But still really nice to see the cars, get up close, look at the front wing detail and stuff like that. And as I say, some of these front wings are relatively basic compared to the ones actually on the cars. There's lots of little jinks and details they use on the aerodynamics, but it's also down to the materials. They're constantly working on new materials that are lighter and stronger, that help with the balance of the car, as well as flexible materials as well. So nice to see the entire grid. As I understand it, the Lotus and the Virgin were the two complete F1 cars. They were the actual F1 cars that were on display. Having a stroll around to the Autosport stage, they had this fantastic DTM Mercedes there. Gary Paffett was on stage talking about his career and stuff he's done, plans last season, plans for next season, and of course a discussion of this beautiful chrome car that was on display. This was for his teammate. It looks like he'll be continuing his driving there this year. Of course, he would love to get into Formula One, but there are just so limited on seats. And talking about every aspect of, from sponsorship to getting into the sport, is really educational for new drivers, and hearing from experienced drivers such as him and the challenges you continue to face. And of course, then we move on to the karting, the young karters, the stars of tomorrow working their way up. And of course, you work your way up through karting, through the lower formulas. And I thought I'd interview a Formula Renault driver in the form of Alice Powell. Let's hear from her. Okay, viewers, so now I'm joined by Alice Powell, Formula Renault driver. Alice, I wanted to find out a bit about your early career, how you got into motor racing, and what was your initial inspiration?
I started motor racing when I was about 8 years old, starting karting, where most people start off, and just move my way up through the levels. When I was 15, I did Ginetta Junior, and then I moved into Formula Renault when I was 16 and won the BARC Championship in 2010. And I've just always been a fan of it. There's no one in my family that have done this kind of racing before, so I've just kind of sprung from nowhere and decided to go into motorsport.
Was it your initial passion? Did you follow motorsport on TV and say, I want to do that? Or was it a family influence?
Yeah, my mum and dad always used to watch Formula 1 on the TV. You know, sometimes they wouldn't, follow it as closely, but I'd always be there in the front of the TV cheering on. I think it was Schumacher. I was a big fan of Michael Schumacher, so I'd always be cheering him on. So I'd always be there watching it, even in MotoGP. Anything motorsport related, I'd be there watching. So my family were kind of right, okay, this is strange. Where have you got this from? And then I went out and tried karting one day, and here I am now.
Now, there's not, obviously, women are outnumbered by men massively in motorsports. Does that add any additional challenges, at least early on in karting, or do you find that increases as it changes as you move your way up?
I think karting's great to develop your skills, even if it's an indoor kart track. You're not as experienced and you want to get a bit more experience. Going out into a kart track, I think, is really good to improve your skills. Overtaking as well is really key. But as you move up the levels, karting also, keeps you fit, physically fit, which you need when you move up the levels, especially in single-seaters. So karting is still good for drivers to go back to.
Now, working your way up through the formulas, obviously you're in Formula Renault now. What's the biggest challenge of moving up to a formula like that?
The biggest challenge, I would say, of moving up is, developing the car and working with the team. Obviously, when I was in Ginetta Juniors, going up into Formula Renault, there's slicks, there's wings, there's more things that an engineer can change on the car. So all learning with that, learning how to brake differently, accelerate differently, cornering grip and speed. There was so many things to kind of take in and try at once. So then my first year in 2009 was kind of like a learning year, and obviously 2010 was really good because I won the championship.
So on to 2012, what are your aspirations for this year and looking to the future?
Well, we're just trying to get the budget together for this year. Then maybe move into Europe in Formula Renault. I was likely to move up maybe into GP3. But budget, is a bit too late at the moment. I've missed all the testing for that as well because we're January now. But maybe if we don't get the budget, there's GTs. Ginetta have put on a great GT championships on the Toka package as well. It's a good TV coverage. So there's loads of things out there that you can do. But ideally, I want to stay in a single-seater route for now.
Is Formula 1 an ultimate aspiration for you?
Yes, it has been ever since I was really small. So if you get the right level of backing and a good team around you, I'm sure anybody can get there.
Now, obviously, it's always put about the physicalities of Formula 1. Obviously, that increases as you move your way up. Are you confident that you're going to be able to build up to that level and that you're working on the right path?
Yeah, I train really, really hard with the Lotus Renault guys at the gym. So I'm training there, 5 days during the week, 4 or 5 days during the week, and then I've got stuff going on at the weekend like hockey. Yeah, that keeps you quite fit. Full 2 45-minute halves, running up and down a pitch keeps you fit. So I am training really hard. Not just on my CV side of things, but also on weight training and stuff as well, and your neck to just keep you that one step ahead of yourself. So when you do move up, it's not your body can't cope with it. You're ready for when you move up.
Now, just another aspect to training. Obviously, we cover a lot of video games and simulation on the Team VV channel. Do you use anything like that? Have you ever used any kind of simulators or anything? Have you found it of benefit?
Yeah, I played the F1 2012 game. I buy those games. I had the 2011 one, but I bought that game purely just to learn the Indian circuit, and it's nearly quite accurate actually to learn the track on. And when I was out in India, I thought, this is a real benefit. Obviously, it is different, because you can't get the right feel and stuff like that. But when I did go out and I wasn't kind of getting it driving to the track and thinking, well, I don't know where it goes. Using the game was a real benefit. I
can imagine it certainly was. It certainly seemed like a tricky midfield section there to get right. Certainly threading an eye of a needle, it's just sort of one line through it. So it can be a help then when you're coming across a new circuit in particular more than anything, just to get a rough idea.
Yeah, for a rough idea, if you don't know where the track goes, for example, like using India, when I went to a track test in Europe, I went and used a simulator there. That is really good to get your eye in and see where the track goes, like you said.
Have you used any of the F1 team simulators or big sort of racing teams, using like corporate scale sort of stuff like that?
No, not yet. Hopefully one day I'll be able to use those kind of simulators.
So next then for you, Formula 1, what's the next stage now? Finally, just to finish off, aspirations 2012 and beyond.
Well, moving up to racing in Europe, hopefully in Formula Renault.
Okay, brilliant. Well, Alice, thank you very much for your time.
Very much. Cheers.
That's it for part one of our Autosport coverage. And a great show, lots to see and do there, lots of F1 cars, racing cars, and the opportunity to get right up close and see them as never before. It's a really great opportunity for racing fans and definitely one worth heading along to. Of course, this is just part one of our coverage, so I hope you've enjoyed that. Look at the racing cars, and a big thanks to Alice Powell for giving us her time. Obviously she had a successful 2011 and we wish her the best in 2012 as well. But check out part two when we look at more racing cars, production cars, and an interview with Motorsport XS. So that's it for now, viewers. More soon.